The call came on a Tuesday afternoon while I was sifting through financial reports at my desk, an unfamiliar local number flashing on my phone. I usually ignored such calls, but some instinct urged me to pick up. "Is this Emma Lin?" The voice was rough but measured, like someone trying to sound official. "Yes, who's this?" I replied. "Name's Joe Russo. I run Russo's Pawn and Loan on Franklin Street. I think I've got something that's yours." "A Rolex Submariner?" My breath caught. That couldn't be. My father's watch was safe in. I yanked open my desk drawer where I always stashed it during work hours. Nothing. "Ma'am." "You there?" Joe's voice crackled. "The watch," I murmured, stunned. "It's missing." My voice was barely audible. "I figured as much. Can you come to the shop? There's something you need to see, and I'd rather not talk about it over the phone." I left the office immediately, my hands trembling as I gripped the steering wheel. Dad's watch, the one thing he'd left explicitly for me, had been in that drawer just yesterday. I checked it daily, tracing the engraving on the back. "To my daughter Emma, may time always be your ally. Love, Dad." He'd worn it through everything: construction sites, family dinners, my school recitals. Even during his treatments when his wrist grew frail and we resized the band. On his final day, he pressed it into my hand. "This is yours, Em, only yours." That was 3 years ago, before Mom remarried Paul, before Paul's son, Ethan, moved in with his grand schemes and greedier habits. Russo's pawn shop sat squeezed between a laundromat and a payday loan store, the kind of place where hope seemed to go to fade. Joe Russo matched the stereotype perfectly: broad shoulders, wary gaze, a silver ring on his pinky. But his face softened when he saw me. "You're the spitting image of him," he said quietly. "Your dad, he used to stop by here back in the day." "He did?" I asked. "Construction folks always need equipment," Joe said. "He was one of the honest ones, always paid his loans, never tried to scam me." Joe stepped into the back and returned with a familiar velvet case. "This came in yesterday." The guy claimed it was his to sell. He opened the case, revealing Dad's watch, smaller and more fragile than I remembered. "I don't usually pry into a seller's story if the item seems legit," Joe went on. "But this watch, I knew your dad would never part with it willingly, so I checked our records." "And," I prompted, my voice tight, "your father pawned it once 15 years back, paid it off in a month with interest. 3 grand, Joe's eyes held mine. "That was right around when you started at that elite private school." My chest tightened. I'd earned a scholarship to Westbridge Academy, but there were still costs: fees, uniforms, supplies. Dad had claimed he'd picked up extra shifts. He never mentioned pawning his prized possession. "That's when I knew this sale wasn't right," Joe said. "But that's not why I called you." He lifted the watch, flipping it over. "While checking its authenticity, I found something." He pressed a hidden catch, and the back clicked open in a way I'd never seen. "This isn't factory standard. Someone added a secret compartment." Inside was a tiny, tightly folded note. "I didn't read it," Joe said. "If your dad hid it that well, it's meant for you." My fingers shook as I unfolded it. Dad's handwriting, small but unmistakable. "Emma, if you're reading this, the watch has gone astray. Check the safe deposit box at Citizens Bank, box 529. The key's in my toolbox inside the plumb bob. The watch is yours, but the box holds your future. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise, Dad." "You okay?" Joe's voice seemed distant. "I need to buy it back," I said. "How much?" He shook his head. "The guy who brought it, mid-20s, kept yammering about his tech startup, took cash, 7,800. Ethan, of course." But Joe continued, "I haven't logged the sale. Officially, it never happened." "What do you mean?" I asked. "I've been in this game 30 years. I know stolen property when I see it, even if the thief has a key to your house." He pushed the watch toward me. "Take it. If anyone asks, it was never here." "I can't just—" "Your dad helped me out once," Joe interrupted. "My daughter needed braces and I was behind on bills. He did a siding job for me, dirt cheap, let me pay over time, never brought it up again. This is me evening the score." I left the shop, clutching the watch, my thoughts spiraling. Dad's toolbox was in the garage. Mom had wanted to toss it, but I'd refused. The plumb bob he mentioned was his favorite, an old brass one he'd shown me how to use when I was 9. But first, I needed answers. I found Mom and Paul in the dining room, poring over bank statements. Their faces froze when I walked in, guilt flickering before Mom masked it with surprise. "Emma, why are you home early?" I placed the watch on the table. "Looking for this?" Silence stretched like a taut wire. "Where did you?" Paul began. "Where did I find the watch you stole from my desk?" I cut in. "The one you pawned for Ethan's latest pipe dream. The one thing my father left me." My voice was calm, but rage simmered beneath. Now, Emma, Paul said, using his soothing tone, let's not exaggerate. Ethan needed funds for his venture. His fourth venture, I shot back, after the sneaker reselling flop, the NFT scam, and the failed DJ career. This one's different, Mom insisted. He's got investors, a real plan. Funded by stealing from me, I said. It's not stealing, Paul countered. We're family, families share. Like Ethan shared his inheritance with me. Oh wait, he blew that on a BMW and a Vegas trip. That's different, Mom snapped. How? I pressed. How is it different? Mom stood, her expression hardening. Because Ethan's got ambition, he's creating something. You just hoard valuable things while people with dreams need support. There it was, the truth she'd sidestepped since marrying Paul. I had a stable job, a quiet life, no lofty goals. To her, that meant I deserved less. Ethan had big talk, so he deserved everything, even what wasn't his. I want the money back, I said evenly. All $7,800, Paul scoffed. It's gone, invested in Ethan's app. Then sell the assets, I said. You can't, watch me. I picked up the watch. I reported it stolen this morning. I have the police report number. Return the money or I press charges. You wouldn't, Mom gasped. Ethan could face jail. Ethan committed a crime, I said. That's not on me. After all we've done for you, Mom's voice rose. We let you stay here. I pay above market rent, I corrected. We're your family. Dad was my family. This watch was his gift to me, and you let your husband and his son steal it like it was nothing. I left them stammering and headed to the garage. Dad's toolbox sat under his old workbench, coated in dust but untouched. The plumb bob was right where it always was. I'd used it with him countless times, learning to check foundations, hearing him say, good enough, wasn't enough for something meant to endure. Inside the bob's hollow chamber, wrapped in plastic, was a small key. Citizens Bank was downtown, in a building Dad had helped refurbish in the 90s. The safe deposit box needed 2 keys, mine and the bank's. The manager, an older man who'd known Dad, didn't pry. Box 529 was larger than I'd expected. Inside were 3 items, a thick envelope, a bound notebook, and another letter. I read the letter first. Emma, if you're reading this, you found my backup plan. Your mother doesn't know about this box. I started it when you were born, knowing you'd be extraordinary. The envelope holds bearer bonds from my father, worth about $110,000 now, maybe more. The notebook lists all the details of my contracting work, clients, contacts, unpaid invoices. There's likely $60,000 there if you chase it. But here's what matters. I didn't just leave you a watch. I left you time. Time to forge your own path without financial burdens. Time to walk away if you must. Time to be yourself unapologetically. Your mother's a good person, but she measures worth by who shouts loudest. You're quiet like me. That doesn't make you less. It makes you sharp, thoughtful, precise. Use this wisely. And know the watch isn't just a keepsake. It's a reminder that time is the only true wealth we have. Don't let anyone take yours. All my love, Dad. P.S. If that guy you're dating is still around, the one who borrowed cash and never repaid, drop him. You're worth more. I laughed through tears at the postscript. Dad had nailed it about Jake, who I'd left a year after Dad's death. The bonds were there as promised. The notebook was packed with Dad's precise notes, including unpaid invoices from big contractors. One stood out. Harper Builders, owing $18,000 for a job Dad finished just before his illness. They were still operating, likely assuming the debt vanished with him. They were mistaken. I spent that night in a hotel, plotting my next steps. The next day, I hired a lawyer, Karen Torres, who focused on estate disputes. She reviewed Dad's notebook and grinned. Your father was meticulous. This is all enforceable. The bonds are yours immediately. The debts, I'll need 2 months. I paid her retainer and returned to Mom's house. It wasn't home anymore. They were in the family room with Ethan, who was pitching his app's game-changing AI blockchain synergy. He froze when he saw me. Emma, he said, flashing his polished grin, about the watch. Save it. I turned to Mom and Paul. I'm moving out today. Don't be absurd, Mom said. Over a watch. Over betrayal, I corrected. Over you choosing them over me time after time. Over you letting them steal what's mine because you think I don't deserve it. Where will you go? Paul asked, probably eyeing my room for a new tenant. That's not your problem anymore. Ethan stood. I'll repay you when the app launches. No, I said. You'll pay me now $7,800 plus interest. My lawyer will follow up. Lawyer, Mom paled. Emma, you can't. I can. I am. I'd learned the best time to stand up is when you realize you're being crushed. I packed my things, 2 suitcases mostly. The watch went back on my wrist where it belonged. As I loaded my car, Mom came outside. Your father would be disappointed, she said icily, turning on family like this. I met her gaze, seeing the woman who'd stood by while her new family eroded my old one. My father, I said firmly, left me more than you ever realized. The only thing he'd be disappointed in is how long it took me to see you for who you are. I drove off without looking back. The bonds cashed out at $134,000, more interest than Dad had estimated. Corinne recovered $49,000 of the debts in 5 weeks. Harper Builders paid in full to avoid a lawsuit exposing their habit of dodging contractors. Ethan's app crashed in 2 months. He'd burned through the watch money on branding and a rented office, never building anything. Paul called asking for a small loan. I hung up. Mom tried reaching out through cousins, framing me as the selfish daughter who ditched family over things. I sent them all a copy of the police report for the stolen watch, with Ethan's name circled. The calls stopped. I used Dad's money to buy a modest house in the town where he'd grown up. Nothing lavish, but sturdy. Good bones, he'd have said. I kept his toolbox in my garage, the plumb bob still in its place. The watch rests on my bedside table at night, its ticks steady as a pulse. Sometimes I open the hidden compartment, just to confirm it's real, that Dad planned ahead, that he shielded me even after he was gone. Time is the only true wealth, Dad knew that. He knew the watch mattered not for its price, but for what it held, the moments we shared, the future he worked to secure. He also knew someone might try to take it from me. So he ensured that even if they stole the watch, they couldn't steal what truly counted. The time to shape my own life, the time to stand tall, the time to know I'd always been worthy of every second. The watch is mine again, but more importantly, so is my time. And I won't let anyone waste another moment of it.